I, okay. How are you? Where are you from?
I'm in California in Humboldt County.
Oh, really? I
Mhm.
did a vision quest once up in the mountains there.
Cool.
Except they
Me too.
forgot to tell me that that's where they grow all the marijuana. Well, they didn't forget. I guess they just said, stay in your area and don't be wandering around. It's like, it said why, but they didn't. Um, I'm really fascinated by your profile. You're the same as me, but in reverse.
Oh yeah?
And I am a 5-1,
Uh-huh.
but we have all the same activation keys.
Wow.
So you're pretty special.
Yeah.
Tell me what your knowledge of gene keys and human design is. And
Um,
how did you find me?
I was introduced to human design when I was maybe 20, and that was about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And a guy walked up to me at a party and said, I bet I can guess what your human design is. And I said, my what? And he
Was he
actually
right?
guessed me correctly. So
That's pretty fun.
yeah.
That's a pickup line I've never
Yeah,
tried.
it worked. um, so yeah, I've been kind of casually studying my own human design ever since then. And that same person introduced me to the gene keys a number of years later. And I have been kind of once again casually studying my gene keys since then. Um, yeah, I've done the activation sequence and I'm now doing the Venus sequence, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. And you found one of my ads and links somewhere?
Yeah, it was in one of the Gene Keys groups on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me show you what I've done. It is share screen. Uh, okay, so what I do is I take out all of the gene keys and just
Hmm.
look at the lines.
Hmm.
But I already know what yours are because they're the same as mine, but in
What?
reverse. So,
Yeah.
um, and that's pretty powerful.
Right.
The so you probably know quite a bit about being a 6-2.
I mean, I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's one of the hardest concepts to get people to, get that they take the sixth line in the life's work and evolution, and the second line in take a message or don't answer. The second line in the evolution and purpose, although the second line in the evolution and purpose has two different meanings. Hold on, go back to stop sharing. So the sixth, and you're in the middle stage of the sixth line, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you've gotten through hopefully the most of the trial and error and failure and figuring out what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people it's like, touch the stove. Oh, it's hot, it burns me. Oh, touch the stove. Oh, it's hot, it's burned me. Now you're in the stage of maybe I shouldn't touch the stove. And the hope is at some point you'll get to the point of being able to be a role model and teach other people not to touch the stove.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the keys for you are really just you're of a profile that you just need to authentically be who you are. You don't have to Not what you're supposed to be, not what people want you to be, just who you are authentically. And you're getting beyond the stage of not trusting. You're kind of figuring out what it is that you can trust, what is trustworthy and what is not trustworthy, and act in with boundaries or separation of things that don't fit or aren't trustable. And you're to live your own unique life. Some of the shadow sides of the sixth line can be aloof or arrogant and isolative. Some of the wound of isolation is healed with self-care, knowing what it is that you need to take care of you and doing those things. But the hermit side, or the second line, as they call the natural in gene keys, does need time by itself. You need that contemplative, meditative grounding is real super important. Whatever you feel drawn to, if it's the ocean, if it's trees, if it's nature, if it's gardening, any type of connection to nature or alone time there is like the best. That's better than going to a spa.
Mm-hmm.
It's best to really surround yourself with people who are of high integrity, people that don't have hidden agendas, that aren't trying to manipulate you. Those signs, are people you need to separate yourself from and just not be around.
Why is that so important? I mean, obviously it sounds great, but why is that of such importance?
Why is it of importance? It's what's intuitively coming to me is to stay away from being manipulated and used. You have a lot of gifts that people are going to want to take advantage of. And, if they're coming at it sideways, especially because, I have the 59 in my purpose and the 55 in my radiance. Have you listened to those gene keys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty significant.
Yeah.
And the 55 as your the gift of just being free, of freedom, and that is free from the trauma and the effects of whatever trauma you've experienced. I would say that's why you want to steer clear of people who want to manipulate and have agendas. They're going to put you into that victim pattern.
Makes sense.
And the 55 is a part of every single gene key. We can be a victim of any of the shadows, whether it's arrogance, selfishness, pick one, we can be the victim of it, or, allow it and accept it that, yeah, there's going to be times that I'm taken advantage of and a victim. But that doesn't mean you have to, I'm using it in my own context, doesn't mean I have to stay a victim. That is my choice. Someone says something to me or does something that I react to, because I can be very reactive, but that's my choice. I'm choosing to whether, to not let it affect me or to react to it, rather than blame them. Oh, you made me feel this way. It's your fault. No, it's my choice. Yes, you did that. It may not have been appropriate, but how I respond to it is my choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but because a lot of times it's subconscious, it's automatic. But once we get to that level, we definitely feel a greater sense of freedom from pain, from trauma, from life. Is this hitting home
Yeah,
at some?
yeah. Um, doing the Venus sequence, really bringing home the response is a and
Can you repeat that? You broke up a little bit.
oh, the Venus is really bringing that message home for me that the way that I respond to life is my choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and a lot of times I always like to have the saying that when you're up to your ass in the swamp, surrounded by alligators, it's hard to remember that your purpose was to drain the swamp.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yep.
Okay, let's go on to the purpose line, the 55. Well, we kind of been there. But you have the second line there, which is about posture and the fluids. Think of the blood is naturally free flowing through your body. The fluidity, think of streams, water. Um, that's the second line in your purpose. In relationships, it has to do with the positive side being the natural. It just happens, comes naturally. Or the reactive side can be the accuser, which goes hand in hand with the victim and freedom. It's your fault. You made me feel this way. You did this and this happened in my life. So that's a very powerful thing to bring to, your relationships. As we move up the Venus sequence, we move to the attraction field.
So
Your
real quick,
gift there, sure.
um, in my Venus sequence, having in my chart and my data for a chart, it brings up the 60 gene key as my purpose. That's what the Venus sequence has been telling me this entire time.
Mine, I brought it up, it said 55.
That's really odd. I mean, I really want to get to the bottom of this because I'm so curious now.
Okay, let me make sure I've got the right data.
I
The
imagine.
22nd of November, 1987
Uh-huh.
at 9:52 a.m.,
Yeah.
Ventura, California.
Yeah, it's all here, the same on my profile. And it says that my purpose is 64.
Hmm.
I'm like, I can show it to you, but it's too small to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it show as your radiance?
Radiance 55.2.
Wow.
Really very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a second line though, right?
Mm. It's the fourth line.
Okay. Check your data on what you entered there.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that I entered my correct data.
The 22nd of November, 1987 at
Mm-hmm.
9:52 in
Mm-hmm.
Ventura, California.
Yeah.
Okay, well. So what line does it show for you in your attraction field?
59.3 at third line.
In your attraction field?
Yep.
Okay, well, my whole reading is off.
Yeah, I wish that um that we'd gotten the same results, I suppose.
Huh.
Makes me want to do it again just to find out.
Yeah, let me do it again as well. Do you have a laptop that you can do it on rather than your phone?
Sure,
Or
I think
tablet?
so. Yeah, I can do it on this laptop right here.
Okay,
Um,
you do that, I'll do this, and we'll be just a second. Let's see what we come
sure.
up.
Yeah.
Uh, I've never had this happen before.
Quite strange. And I love the 55 and I was glad to hear you talking about it, but I kept looking at my chart going, the 55 is over there.
Okay, Ventura, California. Date. The 22nd of November. And your birthday's in just a couple of days, eh?
Yeah,
Oh, this is happy birthday early. This
thank
is
you.
your birthday gift.
Yeah, thank you so much.
9 a.m. at 9:52. No, it comes out the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if I entered it incorrectly on my phone. Let me see what happens here with the laptop version.
Yeah, because you have the 14.6 as your work, and we happen to be in the 14th transit right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that is my evolution.
Hmm.
And that is an extremely powerful um there's a
Oh my
video.
gosh. It comes up the same on my laptop. You have the correct profile. I have the incorrect profile. How about how about that?
Wow.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to know. Really.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference, but it certainly makes a difference.
Yeah. That's
And especially
fascinating.
just beginning the Venus sequence, it's a good
It's very good to be, yeah, to be accurate here. That's fascinating. Great.
well, you have the 59 twice, three
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are all about transparency and intimacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's got to be pretty vulnerable.
Very. Yeah.
Let's go back to here. Okay, we'll continue on with the new
Awesome.
version.
Yes.
Okay. So I took out the gene keys, so I don't know quite what they are, but the fourth line in the attraction field is about warmth and passion. And it can be also the opposite side of the coin is cold and unreachable. you have a lot of vulnerability. So naturally, you would want to keep yourself protected, your heart. So the Venus is all about really opening the heart and the vulnerability. That's what brought me to human design originally, I don't know, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I kept noticing I would fall in love, be in relationships, and the exact same thing happened like 4 times in a row. It's like I wanted them more than they wanted me. It's like, okay, they needed me more than I needed them. I'm a 5-1, a fixer, a solutionist. So it was like, okay, I need to understand this pattern and why it keeps repeating. So that's what brought me into this. The 4th line can also be about, well, that sort of explains it, frigidity versus passionate and romantic. And the gift there is you bring imagination. That's what people are drawn to you for. The IQ. Do you know much about the Venus sequence?
Not yet. No, I
Okay.
mean, going as I go.
So the IQ develops from about age, I think it's about 12 to 19. It's the last part of your development and how your mind functions, your IQ. And there you have a first line, which is the contemplative mind. Of course, you're the hermit. You need time alone. You need time to think. And don't hide from your thoughts. Let them flow. The first line is the foundation. In the EQ, which develops from about age 7 to 13, it's how your emotions develop. And there you have a third line. Your gift is equilibrium. When I think of that term, I think of balance, equilibrium. And it can be very sympathetic or very apathetic. And it's a line of very deep feeling. When you're hurt very deeply. When you're joyful, it's, everything is fantastic. So it's a great line there. You have a third line also in your SQ, and the SQ develops developmentally from the time you're born to about age 7. And there it's the line of pleasure. It is the adventurer and understanding. And again, it's about intimacy. Well, dishonesty being the shadow. So self-examination and really understanding. Dishonesty mostly is in avoidance of our trauma and pain. We lie to ourselves. We're not honest with others. We don't want to, for a variety of reasons. Dishonesty can be on all kinds of levels. And you have it in multiple places, so it's going to be something that, comes up. And that's probably why the being aware of people who are honest and have integrity and don't have hidden agendas, why you want to steer clear of them. Not only do you want to face and deal with your own dishonesty, but it's also the dishonesty of others. And the core wound, which is what you bring into this lifetime in your DNA from your ancestors. It's a second line. And the second line they only have there what is in the Venus. The core wound is denial. And denial is healed with ease. You can't force it. And denial will. What's real is real. What's true is true. But the core line also leads into what is your vocation going into the pearl sequence. So that deepest wound is also your greatest gift. And that is the line 2 is the marketer. It is the networker. I wish I would have looked this up, but they list in, he talks about in the pearl sequence, all the different lines as like in a movie production. And I'm trying to think of the marketer. I would imagine once the film is done, has to get it out to the public, has to make them interested in it, has to draw the attention. And the way that the pearl works is it combines the core wound, you can't see that, can you? The core wound, the life's work, and then it also adds culture. But there's no direct path to the pearl. It's when you deal with those three and you get to more of the gift and citic levels of those three, the pearl naturally emerges by itself. So in the culture, and culture can be many things. It could be the culture of your family. It could be the culture of your neighborhood. It could be the culture of your skin color. It could be the culture of a business. Those are all cultures. And you are the networker. The fourth line, that is being able to bridge all of the different pieces. It may be even networking from this culture to that culture. I have found my culture is the initiator and the innovator. So when I first started doing the gene keys on the first deep dive that Richard did just prior to the pandemic, it's like this is 98% white women all in this deep dive. And it's like, where are the people of color? Where are the indigenous people? Where are the men? So that has been my personal bridging, is to try to bring those people to these teachings, or these teachings to those people. And you have innovation. There is your gift. Is that the 24th gene key? I think it is. And we have many of the same gene keys because I'm recognizing the gifts. Initiation is the 6th line that you have in the pearl. So part of that, my intuitive sense is really that that's not going to come into full clarity until you're in about your 50s and beyond. You're still 6th line, you're still in that second phase of the 6th line. At first, you're a 3. So now you're getting to the 6, but you're not on the roof yet.
I've heard it described as a as a time of healing, licking the wounds of the third line phase.
Oh, that is a great analogy. I'm going to borrow that one.
Yeah.
I always like the, I'm going to stop touching the stove.
Yeah.
And then the 14, I'm going to send you, there's this YouTube video. So I have the 14 as my radiance, and it, bounteousness, I call it great abundance. It's about, in the I Ching, it shows a cart so overflowing with, kitty, cut it out. My cat's going nuts in here. The cart is so overflowing with wealth that it affects all those that are around it. And there's this YouTube video called, it's either Human or Humanity. And there's a clip there. It shows, I'm not sure what country it is, but they make a tower of people and they keep stacking it up. They're all climbing on top of each other's shoulders. And there's about maybe 80 people that are all leaning in to support this structure. And then beyond that, there are thousands and thousands of people all around. But I think of that as there's 114 in there that had this idea, that brought these people together, that built this tower, and it's affecting thousands and thousands of people. It's so visually powerful. I mean, it brought me to tears watching it. It's like I got on a visceral level what that 14 was. Do you have Rosie's cards?
I don't.
Which of these keys is most calling to you to have more information about?
Yeah.
I'm thinking either the 59th or the 55th or the
Yeah,
4th.
me too. Yeah, me too. The 55 and the 59. Probably the 59.
All right, let me grab the book and I'll share the story with you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is the person. It's always at the very end, we have all but given up hope of redemption, that liberation finally comes. The gift is freedom. The shadow is victimization. From an early age, I can remember I was moody. I was constantly searching for outer reasons to explain my moods, and spent my entire youth chasing after everything and everyone that I believed caused me joy, and avoided or blaming those I held responsible when I felt pain. As I matured, instead of longing for superficial feeling good opportunities, I yearned to feel personally free, romantically fulfilled, and spiritually enlightened. So I embarked on a quest to find the perfect soulmate. teacher, and heightened states of being, I became a professional seeker, a tantric whiz, a workshop junkie. I fell in and out of love with so many people, practices, gurus, that I lost count. When I was in love, I believed that I was free. But actually, I was trapped and addicted to the never-ending hope of romance, the dream of liberation, the catharsis of drama. I was hooked on disappointments and how I secretly felt and how great it secretly felt to complain about things and my never-ending stream of bad luck. The roller coaster had no end. My emotions ruled me. Even though I could see and explain all of my issues in great detail, I was still hopelessly blind to the fact that I wasn't taking any responsibility for my life whatsoever. Or someone out there who could rescue me or make me miserable. In the end, it was really all about me, my own love, my awakening, my happiness, my disappointments. It wasn't until I met a woman who saw into the core of my victimization that my heart finally cracked open. I could no longer hide from her or hide from myself. It was through the intimacy of our relationship that I learned to face my deepest fears and my own hidden agendas. For the first time in my life, I rose in love instead of falling, not just with her, but with all of life. I stopped complaining about things. I stopped blaming others. No longer burdened by complicated stories and devastating dramas, I was feel to free more deeply and fully, and to make decisions without agonizing or second guessing. I no longer cling to teachers or techniques or the gene keys. I threw that part in.
Yeah.
I started experiencing the kind of synchronicities like I'd always dreamed of, just naturally. I did more of what I loved, writing songs, enjoying friends, spending time in nature. Now people tend to relax around me. They feel free to be who they really are and now know deep in my soul that I am connected to all things in life. The gift of this story is that I come to tell you that the freedom you seek has nothing to do with what you do, what you understand, or how you feel. It has to do with the attitude you embrace, no matter what is happening within you or around you. Can you live your life without over relying on outer paths, systems, or structures to keep you safe? Can you fully feel whatever it is that you're feeling without getting lost in the drama of the stories or in your mind? Can you experience a longing without rushing to meet it or trying to escape from it? Can you find peace even in the most painful moments? Can you embrace not knowing? Can you simply just be? Freedom is yours the moment you give up the thought that someone else is responsible for your life or that you're separate from it. Practice transparency and radical self-acceptance, and you will discover how magnificent you really are. Well, that is it.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me end the recording.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions before I stop?
No,
Did it feel like it nailed you?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
yeah, it's beautiful.